This is Emergent Software, and my name is Jeremy Brewer, the Senior Azure Architect, 3x Gold Partner, and I want to take you through a 3-part series that I have prepared on your journey to the cloud. Part 1 is going to be how to prepare, Part 2, what to expect during your cloud migration, and Part 3, a move to the cloud, now what? What do you think of when you think of journey? I'm thinking more like cloud journey, so less of that and more of maybe this, for example. The big problem that we run into is taking it from kind of the concept stage all the way through to the goal stage. How do we get there? What do I need to know? What do we have to plan for? And hopefully I'm going to be able to answer some of those questions over this video. Which brings me to the next super important piece, which is talking about business justification. Why are you doing this in the first place? Okay, so we can't have a plan or a goal without understanding why we're even doing it. So we're going to be taking a look at different triggers and events that might cause this to happen. So we have migration triggers such as cost savings. Maybe you do have the ability to reduce your cost overall, right? Maybe you're trying to reduce complexity. You have so much physical hardware at a data center, maybe multiple data centers, maybe multiple sites, maybe through mergers and acquisitions that you have acquired a bunch of stuff and it's all becoming too complex. New technical capabilities that you want in the cloud that you don't have on-premise, or even scaling capabilities such as performance and geography, too expensive to get that all-flash SAN system to meet the demand of your clients, as an example. Or there's a business event. Maybe you're trying to get out of the data center, right? So you have a contract that's expiring, or you've been, again, acquired, and you need to actually get your assets out of the data center. The new company doesn't want them there. You're trying to hit stability or regulatory reasons, end of life service critical software or equipment, right? And maybe you're not being forced into the situation. You have innovation triggers. A client is asking you to do something that you are incapable of doing with your current assets. And so moving to the cloud gives you that advantage. Trying to transform a product. Maybe you have something that's disruptive. Or you're trying to build new capabilities that you can't do on premise. And probably the most common, which is to scale or meet a geography, right? So if you're hosting out of North America and most of your clients are in Asia or in Australia, it's not going to be a great experience in a lot of cases. Okay, fine. So I've been doing a lot of talking and you're probably wondering, how do I actually just get started with this? And the first thing to remember is that this is not a race. This is a marathon. Don't worry about it. It's going to take a little bit of time. We will get through it. Some recommendations that I have is to clean up the house. Start by cleaning out some of your digital assets. We're talking about old Active Directory accounts that you don't use anymore, old licensing, files that you don't need anymore. Reduce the size of your overall footprint digitally. Servers that may not be in use, software applications that you no longer use. Remember, less is more. My next recommendation is documentation. Do you have any documentation that was ever provided to you by a partner? So network topologies, installation, notes, passwords, how things were put where they were, what the purpose is of all of the servers that you have. Why do you use the licenses that you do? All of these things are going to be very valuable for the partner who's going to be helping you with this cloud migration. Anything that you have, whether you think it might be important or not, is probably going to be valuable. We're concerned a lot of times about integrations with third-party applications or vendors, for example, like tax software. We're also concerned about entitlements. What do you have as far as your licensing is concerned that allows you to get more out of the cloud? So software assurance is definitely a big one for Azure Hybrid Use benefit. Help us figure out what you have through your documentation. So the last piece that I have for you today is, what does the project look like as a whole? We're going to take a look at your digital estate. We're going to look at your timeline. We're going to look at your budget. We're going to look at the technical people who are involved on your side, and we're going to go ahead and create a plan for you. And then the first thing I'm going to do after the plan is established is I'm going to actually, if I can, take some telemetry of your machines. We're going to understand what essentially it's going to take in Azure to host your applications, right? Are we going to be taking your applications and moving them to new operating systems? Are we going to be moving the servers that you have currently and doing something called a lift and shift? Is there an opportunity to actually refactor your applications to be more cloud native? Maybe Emergent software is able to help reduce your server footprint through the fact that we can get rid of the servers and go serverless. So we're going to be making a lot of those assessments at that point. And then from there, we'll establish the project and timelines necessary to do this. And then lastly, once we have you up and running in your new cloud environment, whatever way it looks, some of the things that we're going to be looking at is making sure that we didn't drift from your governance, right? So whether you have regulatory requirements, whether you have just best practice security requirements that we're going to be helping out with, we're going to take a look at that drift, and then essentially make sure that your environment is ready for the long term. And then ongoing support. Who patches the environment? Who maintains it? How do we know if there's an issue with a server, with an application? How do we know that there is plenty of capacity left in whatever, maybe a SQL database that you have set up, right? So are you hitting a performance capacity issue along those lines? And so those are going to be the items that we kind of work through. And then one that gets overlooked a lot of times is, all right, so the environment is up, it's been moved there, it's maintained, but what do you do as far as disaster recovery? And I'm going to have a conversation with you around disaster recovery. Thanks for watching the video. We hope you found it insightful as you prepare for your digital transformation journey. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more videos on this topic by subscribing to our channel. For more information or questions about working with Emergent software, visit our website at emergentsoftware.net.